Give me.
He's about
See, Tom, you badger the kid often enough, you get what you want.
That's right. Jill?
Yes, from nursery rhymes, Tom, to words of wisdom with Bob Keeshan, who has a thought for today.
A man is not old until regrets take the place of dreams. The great actor John Barrymore.
Alrighty, that's our thought of the day. Now, Jim, what's coming up on Breakfast Time?
The Bottle Rockets Red Glare. They've added Breakfast Time to the tour and pumping iron to build muscle where you want it. Coming up.
TV with you in mind. That's what you get when you watch FX. And now, if you watch FX really closely, you'll get your chance to win a family vacation.
America's Museum of Collectibles.
John Burke from Personal FX, on the road every day.
29 minutes past the hour. Welcome back to Breakfast Time. For Jillian, sitting in for Lori, Tom, Bob the Puppet, and me, Jim. I'm the announcer.
Anything could happen today. Welcome back to the show. Jillian's here for Lori. Jay, clap along. It's our morning jam session.
We're going to be hearing from the Bottle Rockets a little bit later. But right now, we're going to go to Jim for the word of the day.
All right, wrap it up, Bottle Rockets. Hey, move. Espresso for everybody, bartender.
Yeah.
What's the word, Jim?
Well, I was going to ask you guys, what do you guys think of est?
What do we think of it?
Est.
About the same as leisure suit.
No. I'm talking about that little suffix est that changes great into the greatest, cool into the coolest, ginchy into the ginchiest. Any ordinary word into maestro, a superlative. That's right.
Ah, yeah.
And superlative refers to the best, surpassing all others. When we add most to like beautiful, Jillian's beautiful? No, most beautiful. It becomes surpassing all others.
It becomes kissing up.
Yeah. And who does it better than Jim?
That's right. And that's the word of the day.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay, thanks, Jim. The superlative will be hearing from a superlative band, the Bottle Rockets, later. But right now, we're going to go down to Equinox Gym, which is in Manhattan, where Patricia Moreno is going to be showing us ways for people to actually put on weight. There are a lot of people that diet to lose weight, but what do you do, Patricia, if you want to gain weight? Is it exercise? Is it eating? What's the secret?
Jillian, it's actually both. And whether you're just thin and you want to gain size, or whether you're not really thin, but you want to add a little bit of shape to your body, it's important to train in a different way. So we have Laura here. She's doing the bench press. Now, this is a weight that's heavy enough for Laura that she'll only be able to do, go ahead, Laura, that she'll only be able to do about 6 reps, which is key because what you need to do is stress the muscle enough so that you tear down the fibers, and then when it recuperates stronger. And the only way to do that is to use a weight that's heavy enough that you can only do about 6 to 8, maximum 10 repetitions of an exercise. Go ahead, do one more. Push, go ahead, there you go. So if that weight's not heavy enough for you to be struggling on your last couple repetitions, you need to add more weight. The key is to stress the muscles so that those very last couple of repetitions are really difficult. So another key thing is to have a spotter. A spotter is someone that's there by your side so that when it gets to the last couple and you can barely lift it, someone's there to help you really get that final stress through the muscle so you're getting a total fatigue of the muscle, which is the key to building the size and the strength in each muscle. You look good, Teddy? See, she's got some good muscle going on there. So, a weight that's heavy enough, someone by you so that you can push and force those last couple of reps out.
Down on the
This
bayou.
is another one. This is for legs and butt. We have Blake here.
Oh, wait,
and
Bill, come in here. It's the butt section.
Yeah.
This is for you, Jillian. Yes, this is a good one for you. And again, another key thing is breathing, especially when you have a heavy weight. You tend to hold your breath. You have to always exhale on the exertion of the exercise, because what can tend to happen is if you hold your breath while you're pushing, once you relax, it can cause you to get dizzy, and especially when you're working with heavy weights, it can be very dangerous. So breathing is essential. Another key thing that is different than trying to lose weight is the time in between exercises. When you're going from one exercise to another and you're trying to lose weight, you want that time in between there to be minimal. You want it to be between 20 and 45 seconds in between exercises. When you're trying to gain weight, you're going to do the exercise very slowly and controlled, but also the time in between exercises needs to be about a minute long. You need to really take the time to rest so that your muscle has time to recuperate, gain full strength back before you stress it again. That way, each time you do the exercise, you have full strength back, and you can push as hard as you can. So now we have Lisa here. She's going to be showing us another leg exercise. And again, when you're putting your routine together, especially for a beginner, a good thing to do is alternate from an upper body part to a lower body part. That way, when you're waiting the minute to 2 minutes rest in between exercises, you can go back and forth, giving the arms a chance to recuperate. You go to the legs, and then you can go back. That way, it doesn't take a lot of time. You can get both exercises in. But remember, the key to building muscle is heavy weight. Keep the momentum slow. Get plenty of rest in between the exercises. And also, diet. Diet's another key thing. And I think we have Dr. Ron and Spencer to tell you how to tie the diet in with the exercise to get a really well-balanced exercise routine that'll help you gain size and gain shape in your workout.
Yeah.
Thanks, Patricia. That's right. Dr. Ron will be in later on telling us what foods we can eat to constructively build some poundage. Now, Terry, come over here. Terry, I heard Terry during Patricia's segment saying, well, who would want to gain weight? But I guess it's about sculpting. Did you ever just want maybe to be a little bit in better shape, maybe a bigger arm, something so you'd be more balanced?
Yeah, sure.
You know?
But I have no problem gaining weight.
Right. Well, see, we're trying to build up Phil's butt here. Well, while we're thinking about that, let's see what Tom has today for the headlines.
Thanks, Jill. Another delay could be coming in the O.J. Simpson case. The L.A. District Attorney says it's likely he'll seek a postponement because one of the lead attorneys, William Hodgman, is in the hospital with chest pain. Prosecutors also say they need more time to examine a new witness list the defense surprised them with yesterday. A Utah man has been arrested on charges of sending a death threat to President Clinton and Vice President Al Gore. In Kobe, Japan, doctors are working to prevent the flu from spreading among the hundreds of thousands of earthquake victims now living in shelters. Officials say nearly 600 cases have been reported so far. A genetically altered tomato that stays fresh a month after harvest. It's called the Endless Summer Tomato. Has been cleared for sale and will be test marketed in March. And in West Virginia, a story of a cab driver getting taken for a ride. A smooth-talking fugitive duped the cabbie into driving him 150 miles to an Ohio airport and then coaxed the cabbie to buy him a plane ticket. What? Lucy, where'd you get this? And then coaxed the cabbie to buy him a plane ticket. Now the cab driver is out more than $500, but his family has a lot of new pet names for him. And that's a look at some of today's top stories.
World's greatest salesman. That's what that was.
Oh, Tom, I think that Bob has found a true fan. Jake, is it going to be sunny today? You think that lemon represents some sun, some spiky yellow balls? What's happening in our weather, Jim?
No spiky yellow on that. Well, this whole part of the country going this way is in the pink, except for right around the Great Lakes there, right? Then this part of the country, on the other hand, is in the red. So, make your own choice, Pinky Lee or red buttons. Let's look at those high temperatures. As you can see, it's pretty what it should be, you know, at this time of year, and that's the weather.
All right, Jim, a little mailbag music, please.
Yeah, please.
I'm gonna sit right down and write myself a letter and make believe it came from you.
It's our All J show today. This from Josh Cannon of Sonora, California. Little trip to Vegas for Jack the dog, and Bob is jealous. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
First class.
Yeah. Life is good when you're jealous of a dog. Yeah.
Careful. Careful.
Yeah.
Hi there, booby.
From the desk of Debbie Call in a location not known to us. Dear Breakfast Time gang, just a note to let you know how terrific it was recently to get to see one of your road warriors in action. Enclosed, please find photos of the segment you did on the cliffhangers at Central Park, Atlanta, Georgia. That's where they were bouncing off buildings, and Gwen McGee was with them there. So we'll put this in our Breakfast Time scrapbook. Thank you for that.
You see the picture with her smile that says, before she went up.
That's right. Excuse me, Jake. We got one more. Just hold Jake.
I'm holding Jake. He's not going anywhere.
Give Jake
So
the
that's
eggs.
from them. That's from the family. And the family that's visiting today, and all of you whose letters or faxes we use on the air, get
a T-shirt.
Right, and a nice one it is.
Pretty snappy, and you get it by writing to us at Breakfast Time, P.O. Box 824, Madison Square Station, New York, New York, 10159-0824, or call us at 212-802-4054, or fax us at 212-802-4208. If we read your letter on the air, you get one of those remarkable T-shirts.
Okay, Jake, what's that? Can you say it?
Yeah. He's not the first snake to offer somebody an apple.
Apple. Jake loves Bob.
That's right.
Scary, isn't it?
He's holding out for the eggs.
What else is coming up?
Wave research in the North Pacific. And Mr. Cronson's class is experimenting with eggs. Coming up on Breakfast Time.
Here at FX, we don't just watch In Living Color for the comedy. We watch for the music.
Kind of happens way too much. Cow.
Back-to-back episodes of In Living Color every night at 10, 9 Central, only on FX.
He's not an infant anymore.
Down here.
He's not yet a big boy.
Here we go.
He's a toddler.
There we go.
Too big for a bottle, not big enough for a glass. This is just right. Next Step Toddler Formula from the makers of Enfamil.
Smile big.
Specially designed for toddlers with the Iron Cow's Milk Lact.
Oh, boy.
After the bottle, before the milk. Next Step Toddler Formula. In soy, too.
Kellogg's Raisin Bran tastes so good, people forget it's nutritious. Why do you eat it?
Nutrition.
Good.
I'm a health nut.
Wheat Bran, I love it.
Wait a minute, is this true? 10% more raisins free?
Wow, more raisins?
We're talking about nutrition.
Free raisins? Ooh la la.
That's not important.
Yes, it is. Now Kellogg's Raisin Bran has 10% more raisins, absolutely free.
Forget what it says behind my hand.
10% more raisins.
Free!
My dandruff is really bad. The flaking and itching are embarrassing. I'll try anything. Dinerex feels tingly, not Head and Shoulders.
Both have effective dandruff medicine, but Dinerex has something extra that tingles. It feels fresh and invigorating.
That tingle is why I started using Dinerex. No flakes, no itch.
Dinerex, the serious dandruff shampoo. Or try new Dinerex dandruff shampoo for dry scalp. Its special provitamin formula relieves dry, itchy scalp while moisturizing your hair. New Dinerex for dry scalp.
Viva FX and Viva Las Vegas. For the first time, we're taking an entire show on the road. It's the Pet Department in Las Vegas.
We're not going to be hanging out in casinos. We're going to be checking out everything from dogs to dolphins and desert pets, too. We're going to be road testing lizards and emus and burros, and Lou and Lee will have our very first FX Pet Watch.
Watch the Pet Department live from Las Vegas all this week, exclusively on FX.
Okay, maybe one trip to the slot machine.
It's 18 minutes to the top of the hour. Welcome back to Breakfast Time with Tom, Jillian sitting in for Lori, Bob the puppet, and me, Jim. I'm the announcer. And here's, God, who knows what that is?
It's water. It's Running Water Day on Breakfast Time. We're taking you to see Olympic divers and water polo players. We're taking you to see a wave machine now as Anthony Bielenson continues to fill in for Suzanne Wong, who's a little under the weather. And he is with the gang in Corvallis, Oregon at Oregon State University's Wave Research Department looking at waves. Anthony?
Hi, good morning. I'm definitely having an out-of-body experience today, but anyway, here is our wave tank. Now, what this wave tank does, it actually recreates conditions in the sea. It's 342 foot long, 12 foot wide, and 15 foot deep. And the research they're doing here actually is helping save people's lives. Now, one of the things in Japan, when they have an earthquake they're scared of, is tsunamis, and they're waves that can be 100 foot high, and they're created out at sea, and they have a devastating effect when they hit land. And some of the research they're doing here is actually showing and helping people save lives. Now, explain what's happening here. We're recreating some tsunamis here, which are waves. This is Charles Stollett, who's head of the Wave Research Facility. What's actually happening here?
Well, what happens is that as the water depth decreases, the energy of the wave is concentrated over a smaller and smaller depth. That causes the wave height to grow until it breaks. And then we see it running up for the beach here. And in fact, this beach is being overtopped with the wave.
So what's actually happening here is the wave's going over the top of the beach, and when it hits over the top of the beach, it actually has a devastating effect and can destroy houses. How powerful can a tsunami be?
Well, some of them can run over 100 feet above sea level, and anything in its path will either be flooded or possibly destroyed.
Now, one of the things they're doing to help stop that is they're creating artificial barriers at the side of the sea, and these are actually going to protect people's houses. And the research here, how does that help the research here building artificial barriers?
Well, we can determine how large these materials have to be in order to protect structures from waves.
One of the Beavers got involved in that.
Now, one of the other reasons why this wave research is important is because of global warming. The seas are actually changing, is that correct?
That's correct. With global warming, the temperature rises, the polar ice caps melt, and sea level rises.
So basically, the sea conditions are changing. Now, we have another experiment out here. It's a buoy that's out at sea, and this buoy is actually sending back weather information. Now, during normal conditions, this buoy will be able to send back its information, but when the sea's changing, the information changes.
Yeah, what happens is that it can continue to transmit as long as the pitching motion of that buoy is within a certain tolerable range. But as the waves get shorter or steeper, then what happens is that this motion will become amplified, and at a certain stage, it will no longer be able to communicate with the satellite. And here you see the wave breaking, and this will cause considerably more motion in that antenna.
So basically, your design here can see whether this can stand different wave conditions.
That's right, and then we can change the design of the buoy to be better suited to whatever wave condition is appropriate for a particular location in the ocean.
So there we have it, important wave research, and when we come back a little bit later, we're actually going to see how houses on the beach can be affected by changing weather conditions.
Anthony, Bob and I both have a couple questions. Go ahead, Bob.
I just wanted to know, so tsunamis are not that dangerous in the open water, is that true?
That's true. Basically, what happens is they start off very, very shallow, and as they get nearer the beach, they get very high. They can start off about a depth of 1 foot, and when they get near the beach, they can build to 100 foot high. And the kind of pressure they can go through, concrete walls, houses, destroy anything in their path.
Here's a scary trend. The puppet had the more serious question. Do they ever surf on that thing? They seem awfully serious.
Charles, do you ever surf on this thing they're asking?
It's happened. Actually, with a little less water depth here, we can create a wave that's 5 feet high, and our electrical engineer here has been known to surf in the wave pipe.
Yeah, all right. Look for Urban Baywatch on FX coming soon.
And then that wall stops you, so that's cool.
Right. Yeah. But will they float or will they not? Jillian's with Frank Cronson probing those questions and more. Jillian?
Yes, why some things float and why some things don't. We don't know why, but Frank Cronson, everybody, the FX science guy, is going to demonstrate density and mass.
Right. Well, the question is density. Density is what determines whether things will sink or float. Now, in front of you, you have a glass with fresh water and a glass with salt water and some eggs. These are deluxe FX eggs from the FX hen. And what I'd like you to try is place one egg gently in each container and see what happens.
Did that egg flunk?
Yeah, you'll notice. Well, what did you notice, class?
One floated, one didn't.
Okay, which one did? Yes?
Tom did not ring the bell.
Oh.
And I was late for class. It's not a good day for me.
That's okay. He's a good student. He's enthusiastic, and that's what we like in science. Okay, you notice that the egg that's in fresh water sinks. The one in salt water floats. That's because the salt in the water makes the water denser, so it has more buoyant force to support the egg. The egg that sinks has a greater density than the water, so there's not as much buoyant force to hold it up.
That's how you know
Yeah.
Kogan spent so much time in salt water.
Is that why some of our shows sink and some of our shows float?
It has to do with the density of fill in the blank.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Okay. Now, this may make you wonder, well, how does a heavy battleship float? I mean, it's made of steel or aluminum, it's very dense. How come it doesn't sink? Again, the question is density. Density is how much stuff there is in a given volume. So, you have a little boat here, and...
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
That's not a boat, it's tinfoil.
Yeah.
Actually, it's aluminum foil.
Aluminum, okay.
Aluminium. And when we, I made this boat with the same amount of foil as I've compressed over here.
You must be very proud.
If we put this, so this is denser. Okay, this is definitely high tech. Okay, see what happens to the aluminum foil or the aluminium? It sinks.
That's right.
But if we spread it out, then the total area is less dense and it floats. I can even put this in.
Love that Sara Lee.
And you can do the same thing. I have an even larger lump of aluminum foil, and even that can float. But you notice, the more weight you add, it begins to lift, begins to sink.
That's right. And it can't take a torpedo, I guarantee you.
There you go. That's going down now. Yeah.
Okay, and that's why some ships have a special design on the side called the Plimsoll mark that tells how much you can be loaded in given densities of ocean. There are several lines: tropical water, fresh water, salt water, North Atlantic. Okay, here's a steel boat. We could say this is a barge, banana barge. Okay, it's made of steel. And here's the same amount of steel. This sinks, of course. Right. And this floats.
Wow. Spread out.
Right, it spreads out. It displaces a certain amount of water equal to the weight of what it's trying to support.
Right, this is all very fascinating. Can you blow something up, though?
Get the eggs out.
We'll save that for another segment.
All right. Brian Cronson.
Coming up on Breakfast Time.
Put your eyes back in their sockets and listen to the music of the Bottle Rockets. Coming up on Breakfast Time.
FX alert. A wildebeest in heat is not to be trifled with. Okabongo. It'll bring out the animal in you. Weekends on FX.
Dear Homework, last Valentine's Day, my big date was with the laundry. After I got home, there was a knock on the door. It was Mel. I mean, we'd been friends a long time, so I was surprised when he gave me, out of the blue, really, a Hallmark Valentine. You know, before that night, we must have talked over 1,000 times, but that card, it just said something that we've never been able to say.
This Valentine's Day, you can make a difference. Give a Hallmark card.
P.S. The best part is, this June we're getting married.
It took years of practice, but I made it. When I was 24, I joined the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra. But in 1988, it looked like all I worked for might end. I was diagnosed with breast cancer. Then I found a cancer treatment program I could believe in. It treated the whole person, not just the cancer, and gave me the stamina to keep playing.
We can help. Call 1-800-515-0172.
I found cancer treatment centers, and I've treasured every concert since.
Hi, Alex. Oh, nice cold. Oh, the pressure. Even my sinuses hurt.
Comes with the territory. You know, when you have a cold, it isn't always just up here. Sinuses can get congested, too. Well, that's why there's Advil Cold and Sinus. Doctors like its ingredients. One for aches, fever, sore throat pain. Another for sinus congestion. It's all connected.
Advil Cold and Sinus. Advanced formula for the cold season.
Where's the remote control?
Throw it out. I don't need it.
Why, I'm shocked, Mr. Channel Surfer.
Hey, it's 1995. I'm a reformed man.
Right.
In January, everything we love is on FXM. Movies from Fox. Movies direct from the source.
Oh, you mean like Norma Ray?
And Patton.
Alexander's Ragtime Band.
12 O'Clock High.
The Agony and the Ecstasy.
Loads of stars. Charlton Heston, Rex Harrison.
Sally Field, Henry Fonda.
There's even the Three Stooges with comedy in your face.
But it reduces weight,
kills moths and restores the hair.
See? Still think I need a remote control?
Well.
And this month, FXM Movies from Fox is celebrating stars' birthdays with special screenings.
My birthday's in January.
I know! The same day the Science Fiction Action Festival begins. A whole week of out-of-this-world action at high noon.
Science fiction on my birthday?
And you know how I get during Planet of the Apes movies.
Well, that's a scary thought.
Think about this. In January, FXM Movies from Fox has it all. Movies direct from the source. Any more doubts?
Not even a remote one.
FX.
It's 7 minutes to the top of the hour. Welcome back to Breakfast Time with Tom, Jillian sitting in for Lori, Bob the puppet, and me, Jim. I'm the announcer. Here's Tom and Bob.
We have got a Breakfast Time first here today. Everybody, pay attention. It's a Breakfast Time first. How about a hand for that?
Yeah, what?
Earlier in the show, we introduced you to Bottle Rockets, the band that we had scheduled to play for us. But apparently, it's got just a bit of a touch of uppityness. Come on in, Paul Chabelson, our producer, to explain what's happening with Bottle Rockets.
We noticed, but obviously they only knew one song, and they played it.
No, what did they tell you, really?
Meow, meow, Paul,
Really?
meow,
No, no.
meow.
They were... Gary say something.
They're getting their thoughts together. They're down in their van, and they're considering coming back up. But let's just
But
go on the show.
No, because you're sufficiently embarrassed to make this
Yeah.
worth extending.
Yeah.
They apparently got irked at sitting in Mr.
That's them calling.
Not conducive to what they do. This is too much of a kid show for them.
These are people who stayed up all night in a diner in New York, and we'll wheel some of them back in, maybe. Okay, all right, you bottled roll. That's a new album right there. Yeah, bottle that and sell it, why don't you? All right. Dr. Ron Hoffman is here with us, and are we doing with Spencer Garbett, who is going to talk to us later about the wonders of beef, right? Steak. But Ron Hoffman, and is Patricia with us at Equinox? Patricia, you there?
Yep, we're here.
What we want to do is build off your segment where you showed us how to build muscle mass with some of the Spandex Rangers. And Dr. Ron Hoffman is here to address the percentage about 1 in 4 dieters, right, Dr. Ron?
Well, what I'm doing first here is I've got a teddy bear on my back. And
Use your mic, if you...
Yeah, and the reason that I have a teddy bear on my back is to illustrate what the Greeks used to do to gain weight. The Greek athletes used to go to the Greek marketplace, and they used to get a calf, a baby calf, and they used to buy one, and then they used to put it on their shoulders, on their back, and then they used to carry it around as it grew. And as it grew, it would get heavier and heavier, and they would gain weight. So this illustrates the importance of exercise in gaining weight and becoming awesome. They became wrestlers.
Take health club memberships at Toys R Us now?
Yes.
All right, so for that, about 10% of dieters who are really dieting to gain weight.
Yes.
It is as difficult to gain weight for some people as it is for many of us to lose.
It's really difficult to gain weight because of a factor called the weight set point. And people who are dieters know this. They can lose weight, but then they gain it back because of that set point.
When we work out today, you're working out to gain muscle mass, right? You've been doing that.
Well, I've been trying to put on weight for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it?
And if I stop working out within a week, I can lose 5-6 pounds.
I was at my highest weight when I was a teenager, and I was working on a farm. I was carrying around boxes of produce on my shoulders, and I got up to about fully 170 pounds. I haven't been able to reduplicate that as much as I eat. So eating is not really so much the way to gain weight for skinny people. But there are some things to do. What you ought to do is take a cue from overweight people. How they gain weight is they diet. Actually, if you stop eating...
The yo-yo diet.
Yeah, the yo-yo diet. If you reduce your food intake, you actually clear your metabolism. Your metabolism becomes more avid for calories. So you may actually, paradoxically, as a skinny person, start to eat less. Stop trying to stuff yourself. Eat a little less, and then you'll be able to gain weight.
Now, can I just ask, Spencer, has that been because you work out regularly, you train hard?
No, the only way your body's going to grow is with calories. If you don't have your body needs a certain amount of calories every day just to hang out. Right. Anything less, you'll lose weight. Anything more, you know, you'll gain weight.
Dr. Ron, let me
take a break, clear your palate, and then start on some of these
well, let me ask you, though, if you're looking at people with a weight problem who are overweight, would you then fill up on the fast foods, the pizzas, the things that they might be eating?
Wrong, because that's what a lot of people who are thin try to do. They try to eat the high-calorie junk and things like that, and they're constantly eating. The idea is to try to maintain your health and eat high-calorie foods that are healthy. And among them, well, here's white rice. A lot of people don't think of this as a weight gain food. Think of sumo wrestlers. Think of sumo wrestlers in Japan. They eat tons of this stuff.
I'm still thinking about it.
Part of their secret is they are told to eat large meals at night and then not to do anything, not to exercise. They exercise during the daytime. That's one of the ways that fat people gain weight is they eat huge dinners and then they kind of recline and watch TV.
You have the Elvis Presley plate here, the fried
the
banana.
fried bananas. These are good, particularly with a little bit of peanut butter mixed in with them.
Look like a sumo.
Yeah.
Right. Well, what you want to do is you want to exercise, of course, to tone yourself. Sumo wrestler is not the ideal. Peanuts, of course, and nuts as snacks. Trail mix is a good way to, between meals, stock up on some healthy calories. This is a caloric food, which is also
very
high in
calories.
Yeah, high in calories. But don't worry, there's no cholesterol in this. This is all good oil.
It's high in fat, though, right?
High in fat, but what I maintain often is that people shouldn't so much eliminate fat altogether, but they should go for an oil change, getting away from saturated fat and margarine.
How often should you have the oil change?
Every 4,000
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Dr. Ron, thank you much. There are healthy ways to gain weight, and that is a concern for about 1 in 4 dieters who really are looking to gain either muscle mass or just get some extra weight on them. Now, Paul, I've heard we're going to try a conciliatory move with the bottle rocket.
The band would like to play us a song, but they've asked that Bob not be included.
No, I will not. If Bob's not included, I'm not included.
Hey,
We stand by our Bob.
Yes! Yes!
Bob!
Yes!
Bob!
Yes!
Bob! Bob!
Bob!
All right, Jim, we know what's not coming up in the second hour. What is?
Well, I'd like them to play the song, but I'm not being included in the segment. News, weather, and other stuff coming up on breakfast time.
You're having an asthma attack. Do you reach for a brand you've never heard of? Or Primatene Mist? Primatene starts to open clogged breathing passages in as fast as 15 seconds. Primatene Mist. Fastest type asthma relief without a prescription.
Sarah Lee's crumb coffee cake is so incredibly moist. So irresistible, there's never a crumb left behind.
Nobody doesn't like Sarah Lee.
MCI friends and family customers, have you looked at your bill lately?
I'm with MCI, and I have 9 calls on my bill, and none of them are on my calling circle.
I only have 3 calls, and none of them are on my calling circle.
I have 23 calls on my bill, and 3 of them are in my calling circle.
Are you getting the savings you expected from friends and family?
Well, doesn't look like it from this phone bill. I had a friend try to get me into it because she had joined up, and I said, well, I don't think so. I said, how many people have you signed up? She goes, none. I said, so you're not saving any money right now, right? She goes, no, not really.
AT&T takes the work out of saving. With True USA Savings, there's no circles, no fees, no hassles. It's simple. Call anyone, anytime, anywhere in the U.S. and save. Just call 1-800-PIC-ATT today.
We have enough hassles, enough problems, enough to deal with without having to deal with, well, let me see, is Mary Jo on my friends and family circle? Or, you know, am I going to save money if I make this call?
AT&T is simple. You pick up the phone, you call who you want to, and you get your savings.
Here's how True USA Savings works for you. Spend $25 a month, and you'll save 20% off your AT&T bill. Guaranteed.
I'm always over $25 a month, so that's great for me. I can plan on it. I don't have to even look at the bill anymore.
And True USA Savings gets even better. When you spend $75 a month, you'll save 30%. Guaranteed. It's easy. Switch today.
Whether you use your long-distance calling very little during a given month or you use it extensively, you're going to realize some amount of savings.
It's how much you spend is how you get your savings. That's probably the best way to go.
4 out of 5 MCI friends and family basic users will save more with True USA Savings. Call AT&T today, and we'll switch you for free.
This is a plan that would bring me back to AT&T.
Just call 1-800-PIC-ATT today.
I need to go home and make a change.
I'm going to switch also.
I switch back to AT&T.
Your true voice.
It's easier to get her to eat fruits and veggies now than 10 years from now. So you ought to start early. With a variety of nutritious Gerber baby foods, the first 24 months is the easiest time to start learning to eat smart. A lesson that can last a lifetime. The longer your child stays with Gerber now, the better her chances are for eating healthy for a long, long time to come. Gerber, for learning to eat smart right from the start.
What an amazing piece of technology this is. I mean, it takes up so little space, and yet it does so much. It cuts, it dices, it slices, it... What's that? Oh, that's a toaster? Oh, yeah. Welcome back to Breakfast Time with Tom Bergeron, Laurie Hibbert, and Bob the Puppet. Sitting in for Laurie today is Jillian Hamilton. My name's Jim.
Hey, that's all right.
I'm the announcer.
Oh, Bob, it's all right,
Say
Bob.
good and party.
It's all right. We love you, Bob. Don't worry. No uppity band is going to get you out of our apartment. That's right. Right, Jake? Could give him a hug, Jake. Hug Bob.
Send me Candace. Where's Candace?
Just joining us.
Candace?
We had some
Hold me. I'm
guests
feeling
today
very rejected.
who decided they wouldn't play unless Bob was left out of the segment. So
We stood by Bob.
we canceled them, basically. They're gone. They're out of here.
It's Bob.
But here's for Bob.
Hey!
You know, in that place, I think Bob should sing.
Oh, no, you don't. Oh, no.
Let's not get carried away.
There is that point where we will leave the puppet to his own devices. Let's check with our road warriors across the country as they're giving us some great stuff. First, we go to John Davis, J.D., in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He is at the Swimming Hall of Fame, Jake, where we're going to meet some Olympic diving hopefuls this hour. J.D.?
That's right, Tom. Last hour, we found out a little bit about water polo. Today, we're going to find out what some of the Olympic divers go through. Look at this. I am up on the top of the 10-meter board, and we're going to give you a point of view of what the divers see. Come on over to the edge. Come on. Look at this. This is what it looks like to the divers as they're standing there getting ready to go off the board. We're going to meet some Olympic divers and some divers in training, and we're also going to talk with the world's best Olympic diving coach when we come back.
Thank goodness
right,
Bam
JD.
Bam's not up there.
No kidding. Anthony Bielenson filling in for the ailing Suzanne Wong, Suzanne's producer. He's become an on-air guy over the past couple of days. He joins us from Corvallis, Oregon, the Oregon State University's Wave Research Lab. Anthony?
Good morning. This experience is definitely something to tell the grandchildren about. Today I'm at the Wave Research Facility. It's the most sophisticated facility in the world. It cost $8 million to build. And the research they're doing here is very important, especially because of global warming. Global warming is causing rising seas and changing sea conditions. So boats and structures that were built out at sea now have to face even stronger conditions than they did before. And people that live by the sea are also facing conditions where the land underneath them is being eroded away. When we come back later, we're going to find out how the research they're doing here is helping save people out at sea and also structures that live on the land.
All right, Anthony, we'll get back to you in a minute. Dennis DeYoung is here!
Thank you. Good night.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
You know him from Stick. You know him as Pontius Pilate in Jesus Christ Superstar. He's the bad guy. Now, I have to ask you something, because Bottle Rockets they got their knickers in a twist over Bob.
Bob?
They refused to
Hi, Bob.
perform.
How you doing, kid?
If
No,
Bob
I
was
look
here.
just like Bob this morning when I woke up. I want to let you know.
But do you have any puppet phobia? Any concerns about performing with the puppet?
Well, the truth is, not with Bob, but when Howdy Doody shows up, I'm out of here.
All right, well, there you go.
Yeah,
That's
me
the
too.
parameter. Yeah, Bob will leave too at that point. Right now, let's take a look at some of today's top stories.
The O.J. Simpson trial could be headed for delay. The L.A. District Attorney says it's for two reasons. Prosecutor William Hodgman was rushed to the hospital last night with chest pains, and prosecutors need time to look at a new defense witness list. In New York, opening arguments are set to begin today in the trial of Colin Ferguson. He's accused of... News just in, the bottle rockets they're pulling away.
They're packing up.
They're pulling away, and the garbage truck is coming to pick them up and put them where they belong. And back to some serious news. Colin Ferguson is accused of opening fire on the Long Island Railroad back in 1993, killing 6 people. Ferguson, who's acting as his own attorney, says prosecutors have the wrong guy, that it was a white man who fired the shots. Pete Sampras rallied past fellow American Michael Chang yesterday to claim a spot in the men's Australian Open final. This means Sampras plays the winner of today's Andre Agassi-Aaron Krickstein match. And Whoopi Goldberg's leaving more than her handprints outside Mann's Chinese Theater in Los Angeles next month. The comedian will also cast her trademark braids into the cement. Tom?
Okay.
Can't we all just get along?
Yeah, I know. All we're saying is give peace a chance.
Yeah, peace and quiet, yeah.
What's the weather like, Jim?
Well, actually, the National Weather Service has declared New York a duty-free zone. However, there is some snow in the mountains here, and there's unfortunately a little bit more rain in Northern California. Big area of snow and rain here, and it actually is a bunny rabbit with the parts relocated. Let's look at those high temperatures. As you can see, it's pretty normal for this time of year. And Henri and Luigi? Henri is leaving the building, but Luigi's coming in. So there you go. That's the weather.
Thanks, Jim. I guess there's a new rule. You shouldn't stay up all night in a diner and then come into this environment.
No, I don't. that's sure. Jim does it all the time.
Yeah, but he's not staying up in diners.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. What else is
That's
coming
right.
up,
I
Jim?
sleep at the diner. That's right. Spencer talks about beef. Beef steak meets cheesecake. Coming up on Breakfast Time.
Hi, I'm Dennis Franz. You're watching FX, TV with you in mind.
The all-new Subaru Legacy looks beautiful against a photographer's backdrop, but its true beauty is best seen against the elements. Subaru all-wheel drive is the ultimate safety feature. It reacts instantly, transferring power automatically. When the wheels that slip, the wheels that grip. So you can safely weather even the worst of weather. The all-season, all-road, all-wheel drive Subaru Legacy. The beauty of all-wheel drive.
I've been eating Kellogg's Raisin Bran forever. 2 scoops and all that. I've heard of Total. I've never heard of Total Raisin Bran.
A lot of raisins. Very good. 100%, 100%.
Total Raisin Bran's got a lot of 100%. Kellogg's has a lot of 25s.
No hundreds. None. Surprising.
Why settle for less than Total Raisin Bran?
I'd go with the Total. I think it tastes better than Kellogg's.
I have been using the same toothpaste for years, and my husband is a dentist, and he wants me to use this one now.
This is Tartar Control Mentadent, the most complete tartar control toothpaste.
It is tartar control, and it has fluoride, baking soda, and peroxide that he recommends. It's tingly, it's refreshing.
Tartar Control Mentadent helps you brush away plaque on teeth around the gum line and helps stop tartar before it forms.
I feel great about it. My teeth felt just so clean.
Tartar Control Mentadent.
It has everything that I need.
Meet one of the very real people who makes TV fresh daily.
Hi, I'm Patricia Moreno. I started teaching when I was about 20 years old. A sister of mine was teaching at a local house club, and one day she couldn't do it, so I filled in for her. And I loved it. I just absolutely loved it. And that was it. I never gave her class back. I went into competition in 1990. I won the Reebok National Aerobics competition in 91. And took 3 gold medals in regional competitions. And then I was asked to travel around the world. I went to Japan and to Venezuela. I've taught in a lot of places. Indonesia, except in front of the camera. Working live television was something completely new for me. I want to find that one little thing that's going to get that one person off the couch who wouldn't normally get up off the couch and work out with me.
Patricia Moreno and FX. TV made fresh daily.
It's 11 minutes past the hour. Welcome back to Breakfast Time with Tom, Jillian sitting in for Lori, Bob the Puppet, and me, Jim. I'm the announcer. And we just received
Yeah. Stand by your Bob.
That's right, Bob. You stick with us. We're not giving up on you for anything.
Yeah.
And we are also hailing Anthony Bielenson, who is in Corvallis, Oregon today. Did you know that Oregon State University has the world's largest sophisticated wave research lab in the world? Right now, Anthony is going to describe to us how the research here is helping people out at sea and those who live along the beach. Anthony?
Good morning. We're next to a tank here that is 80 foot wide, and it's 60 foot across, and it's 5 foot deep. Now, the waves created here are like 1/10 of the scale, so a wave that is like 1 foot could be 100 feet out at sea. They have 30 separate wave generators, which are very clever because they can create waves not that just straight, they can also go in lines across the sea. Now, if you look at the structure out here in the middle, this represents an oil rig out at sea. Now, normally this oil rig would be safe, it would have people living on it, but because of changing weather conditions in the world, this oil rig becomes unsafe. Is that correct, Charles?
That's correct. With the new weather conditions, some of these structures that were designed 25 years ago are now going to experience higher sea level, and it's possible that the wave may actually come in contact with the deck of the structure. Now that wave force is spread out over a much larger area, and it could cause the deck to fail.
So now what we're going to do now is we're actually going to change the wave conditions in the water, and this represents what out at sea?
Well, now we're looking at a higher wave, and you can see that it's toppled the deck off of the structure. And in fact, if a structure is to experience a wave such as that, it's possible that it may experience this type of failure.
And again, that is a structure out at sea. People could be living on that structure. This structure is providing oil and gas, and that's why this research is very important. Now, another factor here of global warming is changing conditions all around the world, and people live near the beach. Now, explain to us what this wave basin represents.
Well, this is a circular wave basin with a spiral wave maker, and in here we have an erodible beach around the perimeter of the circle. And as these spiral-shaped waves come into a beach at an angle, they cause each grain of sand to move up and down the beach, like you see these balls floating up and down the beach.
Here we go with some balls here. Now, what actually happens? Because of changing weather conditions, because of changing weather conditions, because of changing sea, what's actually happening to the sand at the beach? It's eroding away.
Yes, and now higher portions of the beach are experiencing increased wave activity, and so they are eroding away. And people tend to build structures such as this seawall or groin here to stop the sediment motion moving down the beach. And that's precisely what's happening here with these balls. They represent each grain of sand that's moving up and down the beach, and you see they're being stopped by this wall.
Now, what about people that actually live by the sea, live by the land? I mean, what kind of protection can you offer them?
Well, this is one form of protection here with a seawall or a groin, but quite frankly, they can cause damage on the downstream side because they'll prevent your neighbor from getting his share of the sand, and so he might experience more erosion. So there are trade-offs with many coastal structures.
Now, in the long term, I mean, how is global warming actually affecting the land? In 40 years' time, what are some of the things that we can be worried about?
Well, there are predictions that global warming could cause sea level rise on the order of anything from 10 centimeters to a meter, so maybe a few inches to a few feet. And if it does rise as much as a feew feet, then a significant portion of our coastline is going to be exposed to wave conditions that it hasn't experienced for thousands of years.
So basically, people who are living by the sea, Tom and Jillian, should be a little bit worried because the structures in their houses could be affected by the changing weather conditions, and it does destabilize them a little bit. And what's interesting,
now,
Hollywood at the moment...
Anthony,
yes?
do these people actually think about moving, or will these walled structures protect them in these 10 years to come?
That's a good question. Should these people actually think about moving, or will these actually wall things protect them?
There are some areas that it simply will not be economically viable to protect. In other areas, with more expensive property, it may be possible to protect them. But clearly, some people will be moving.
Well, there you have it. Wave research and why it's important, and why we should also look after our environment, so to speak.
Okay, Anthony, thanks. It's great stuff. Tom, what have you got going on?
Well, you know, if you want to get a message to somebody and you throw it in a bottle rocket and out at sea, well, it might not get there, so just don't even try. A recent news story that I came across I found fascinating, and that is the theory that man developed intelligence because we turned into a meat-eating species. That the attempts to digest meat required all new construction inside our bodies, which led to heightened intelligence. It goes against probably with thoughts of many vegetarians. But even our own Spencer Garbett, to whom we have turned, many of us have turned for sort of nutritional advice, is here to tell you that beef is important, providing Spencer your...
You know, Kogan's a vegetarian, Tom.
What's that?
Kogan's a vegetarian.
Are you a vegetarian? No.
But that's the thing. A lot of people are surprised when they hear that I eat beef because I love beef, basically. And I'll tell you why, and it's good for you. And there's certain cuts to stay away from, and there's certain cuts that can be good for you as
Now,
well.
Dennis, the young Pontius Pilate must go through, you know, a steak a day.
Yeah, but he washes his hands first, though.
Yeah, no kidding.
We call Rome about once a week. We have it sent down to Judea. It comes on a camel. And then, if the beef is bad when it gets there, we eat the camel.
Oh, there you go. How do you determine what is good beef?
Okay, when you're out in a restaurant, there are a few basic cuts, and I'll start from the leanest, which Judy in front of her has. What I think is a filet. I'm not sure. When you go to order a steak, I would go to like a higher end restaurant possibly to try to get a good cut of beef. I believe it's a filet. Filet is the leanest.
Okay.
It's the most tender, and if you order it, a lot of steak places when you go there, they'll put either salt or they'll put a big slob of butter on it. So you could ask them if they do that and ask them to leave it off. That will help. And when you order it, you might want to order it medium well to well done. That way, during the cooking process, the longer it cooks, a lot of the fat will be burned off, and a lot of the juices and stuff that you don't want would, disappear.
Right. What's Jake trying to cut through over there?
He's got a sirloin there, too, which is also very lean. Not quite as lean as a filet, but it's very lean, good tasting steak. Same, medium well. And also, a lot of times when people order steak, they'll say, steak and potato dinner, or they'll have some bread, they'll have some pasta. When you mix steak, which is kind of a fatty, heartier substance, with something like a starchy bread, pasta, or potato, it's really hard for your body to kind of digest, and that's why people kind of get this phobia about eating steak. So if you just have steak, order steak, enjoy it, relax about it, have some vegetables, and have a salad and stuff, you'll be better off as opposed to mixing it with a starchy like potato or pasta.
What
or
I
bread.
most have to eat is what Phil has, and that's a boiga.
Now, burgers are good. If you're eating at a high-end restaurant, that's great. If you're eating at kind of a borderline restaurant, the thing with ground meat...
New York Rangers.
There you go. A puff, right? The thing about ground meat is that you don't know what you're getting because it's ground, and they might pad it with fillers, they might pad it with fat, so you don't know what you're getting. But Phil is trying to gain weight, so for someone like Phil or anyone who is trying to gain weight, beef is a good daily thing. Even a little hamburger, a meatball or so, and a spaghetti.
Now, for Frank, who's trying to gain hair mass.
Now, Frank has got a prime rib. Prime rib is probably one of the more delicious ones, but it's also the most fattiest cut, and it also can be really salty as well.
Bad Frank.
Frank might not have to worry about it. He's a leaner type. It might not affect him as much.
And Dennis has...
And then Dennis has a porterhouse, which is a combination of the filet on one side of the bone, and on the other side is a sirloin. So it's very lean, very good tasting, but don't have the starch, don't have the potato, and enjoy it. No butter, no steak sauces,
and in summary, the benefits. I mean, why even bother?
The benefits are a lot of potassium, a lot of iron. I eat steak every night when I'm on the road because I'm getting up at anywhere from 1:30 to 3:30 in the morning, long hours, working out, doing a show, doing scouts, running all over town, staying, up late to try to get stories or what have you. And steak, for me, is the only thing that bounces me back.
So it improves your mood. So if you're if you've played in New York on an evening and you've been up all night in the diner, you should have some steak to be in a better mood.
Exactly. You'll be puppet tolerant.
Puppet tolerant. Spencer Garbett, our FX eating expert. Jim, what else is coming up? Anything eating you?
Dennis DeYoung's coming up.
Yes.
From 6 to Punches Power to breakfast time. And a visit to the Swimming Hall of Fame.
TV with you in mind. That's what you get when you watch FX. And now, if you watch FX really closely, you'll get your chance to win a family vacation. We call it the FX Vacation with you in mind. Just watch FX and away you go on the Big Red Boat. Starting next week, keep an eye on FX for the Big Red Boat because 5 times every day it'll be dropping anchor behind one of the FX hosts somewhere in the FX apartment. Spot it once and you could win an incredible vacation package. Write the date in the FX show where you saw the Big Red Boat on a postcard with your name, address, and phone number and send it to FX Vacation with you in mind. P.O. Box 208, Medford, New York, 11763. 3 lucky FX grand prize winners and their families will fly to the Big Red Boat and set sail on a 4-night cruise to the Bahamas. Then it's a 3-day stay at the Walt Disney World Resorts, including all tickets, a rental car, and $500. 10 runners-up will be relaxing at home in cool FX denim shirts. FX Vacation with you in mind. For your chance to win, just keep watching FX. Brought to you by the Big Red Boat and FX. TV with you in mind.
When you want a hot meal without a big deal, what are you gonna pick? Hot Pockets. When a hungry bunch shows up for lunch, what are you gonna pick? Hot Pockets.
Hot Pockets, filled with delicious